In the heart of a snow-draped New England town, the Harper family gathered for Thanksgiving. Their home, a cozy haven of warmth and laughter, buzzed with the joy of reunion. This year was special. After a decade, the elusive Uncle Jack had returned to join the festivities. The air was rich with the aroma of roasting turkey and cinnamon-spiced apple pie, as the family shared stories and memories, weaving a tapestry of their shared past. Uncle Jack, with his enigmatic smile and faraway eyes, listened more than he spoke. Something about him was unsettling, a puzzle piece not quite fitting. As the evening wore on, little Emma, the youngest of the Harper clan, tugged at her mother's sleeve. "Mommy, why does Uncle Jack look different in the old photos?" she whispered, her eyes wide with innocent curiosity. Her mother, caught off guard, laughed it off, but Emma's words planted a seed of doubt that soon sprouted into unease. Dinner was served, and the family gathered around the grand dining table, a cornucopia of Thanksgiving delights spread before them. Uncle Jack sat quietly, his gaze lingering a moment too long on each family member, an inscrutable glint in his eyes. As the night deepened, the family's laughter grew louder, yet Uncle Jack remained silent, a specter at the feast. Emma, unable to shake her unease, kept her distance, watching him with a mix of fascination and fear. The turning point came with a clatter of silverware. Emma's father, Mark, shared a fond memory of his childhood with Uncle Jack. "Remember the time we got lost in the woods behind Grandma's house?" he chuckled. Uncle Jack's response was a blank stare, a void where recognition should have been. Suspicion hung in the air, a thick fog smothering the warmth of the room. Mark's laughter faded, his eyes narrowing. "Jack, you remember, don't you?" he pressed, the jovial tone now edged with accusation. The family fell silent, the tension palpable. Uncle Jack's facade began to crumble, revealing the stranger beneath. His voice, when he finally spoke, was a hollow echo of the man they thought they knew.
"I'm sorry. I must have forgotten."
He said, but his words rang false. Panic set in as the family realized the truth. This man, this imposter, was not their beloved Uncle Jack. He was a stranger, a chameleon who had slipped into their lives, wearing a familiar face. The horror of the deception sent a wave of terror through the room. Emma, her eyes wide with fear, clung to her mother as the family confronted the intruder. Questions flew like arrows, but the man who was not Uncle Jack remained silent, his secrets locked behind a mask of calm. The night ended not with the warmth of family bonding, but with the cold arrival of the authorities. The stranger was taken away, his true identity and motives a mystery that haunted the Harper family long after the Thanksgiving lights dimmed. In the aftermath, the Harpers were left to grapple with the violation of their trust, the unsettling realization that even in the closest of circles, a stranger can hide in plain sight. The empty chair at the Thanksgiving table served as a somber reminder that sometimes the greatest horror lies in the unknown, lurking within the familiar. In the quaint town of Maple Hollow, Thanksgiving was more than a holiday. It was a cherished tradition, binding the community in a warm embrace of gratitude and togetherness. This year, however, a chilling whisper threaded through the crisp autumn air, hinting at a forgotten tale, a dark secret buried beneath the veneer of festive joy. The Andersons, a family new to Maple Hollow, were eager to partake in the town's festivities. They adorned their home with golden leaves and pumpkins, their hearts swelling with the spirit of the season. Little did they know, their invitation to the annual Thanksgiving feast would unravel a horrifying legacy. As twilight descended, the townsfolk gathered at the Grand Hall, a building as ancient as the traditions it housed. The air was thick with the scent of roasted turkey and pumpkin pie, the laughter of children weaving through the candle-lit room. The Andersons, bewitched by the warmth, failed to notice the subtle shift in the air, the way the shadows seemed to dance with a life of their own. Midway through the feast, a hush fell over the crowd. The town elder, Mr. Hawthorne, rose to his feet, his eyes gleaming with an eerie light. "Tonight we not only give thanks for our blessings," he intoned, "but we also honor the spirits that protect our town." His words hung heavy, a foreboding omen that sent shivers down the spines of the Andersons. As the clock struck midnight, the hall plunged into darkness. Whispers filled the room, a language ancient and unknown, creeping into the minds of the unsuspecting guests. The Andersons, gripped by fear, watched in horror as the shadows began to twist and contort, forming shapes that were neither human nor animal. The spirits of Maple Hollow, long bound by a pact made generations ago, had come to claim their due. Every Thanksgiving, a sacrifice was needed to keep the town safe, a truth hidden behind smiles and feasting. The Andersons, outsiders unaware of the sinister pact, found themselves face to face with the ghastly apparitions. In a desperate bid for survival, they fought against the spectral entities, their screams merging with the ethereal howls. Around them, the townsfolk stood motionless, entranced by the ritual that ensured their safety. It was a dance of horror and survival, a twisted homage to the spirits that demanded their tribute. As dawn broke, the Andersons emerged, shaken but alive. The spirits, appeased for another year, faded into the ether. The town of Maple Hollow, once a symbol of unity and thankfulness, now bore the scars of a macabre tradition, a reminder that some secrets should never be unearthed. The Feast of Shadows was over, but its memory lingered, a haunting echo in the hearts of those who witnessed the true face of Thanksgiving in Maple Hollow. Thanksgiving at the Bennett household was a tapestry of warmth and tradition, a time when distant relatives gathered under one roof to share in gratitude and familial love. This year, amidst the golden glow of autumn leaves, Aunt Eliza, the family's eccentric recluse, decided to join, her arrival stirring a blend of curiosity and unease. As evening cloaked the world in twilight, the Bennetts gathered around the grand dining table, laden with steaming dishes and the promise of joyful communion. Aunt Eliza, draped in shawls and trinkets, her eyes shadowed by a mysterious past, took her seat at the far end, her presence casting a subtle pall over the room. As dinner commenced, an air of normalcy settled in. Laughter and chatter filled the room, but it wasn't long before peculiar occurrences began to unfold. The chandelier flickered erratically, casting ghostly shadows on the walls. A cold draft meandered through the house, despite the tightly sealed windows. The family tried to brush off these anomalies, attributing them to the quirks of the old house. But as the night progressed, so did the strangeness. Utensils moved of their own accord, a whispering breeze echoed in the hallway, and the scent of wilted roses permeated the air. Aunt Eliza sat quietly, her gaze distant, as if listening to a silent conversation. Her presence seemed to be at the heart of these disturbances, yet she remained oblivious, or perhaps indifferent, to the growing tension around her. The climax came when young Lily, the Bennett's daughter, exclaimed in terror as she saw a shadowy figure lurking behind Aunt Eliza. The family turned, hearts racing, only to find nothing but the flickering shadows of the candlelight. But Lily was adamant, her eyes wide with fear, insisting on the presence of something unseen. The atmosphere turned from one of celebration to one of suspicion and fear. Aunt Eliza finally spoke, her voice a mere whisper, yet it carried the weight of untold secrets. She confessed that a malevolent spirit had latched onto her years ago, during her travels in distant, forgotten lands. This spirit, she explained, was a harbinger of misfortune, attracted to the energy of family gatherings. The family sat in stunned silence, the festive spirit of Thanksgiving now overshadowed by a sense of impending doom. Aunt Eliza's eyes, once distant, now held a deep sorrow, the burden of her unwanted companion evident in her weary gaze. Determined to protect their home and family, they joined hands, forming a circle around Aunt Eliza. Reciting an old family prayer, they focused their collective will on banishing the malevolent spirit. The air grew heavy, the candles flickered wildly, and a howling wind surged through the room. After moments that felt like an eternity, the turmoil ceased. The house fell silent, the oppressive presence lifting like a dark fog at dawn. Aunt Eliza's shoulders slumped, relief washing over her features. Thanksgiving ended not with joy, but with a newfound understanding of the unseen forces that thread through the tapestry of their lives. Aunt Eliza, once an enigmatic figure, was now seen in a new light, her burden shared and acknowledged by the family she had long avoided.